Um, for the little handful of folks that joined the lyric premiere, I figured it would be fun for us to chat, mostly because I'm curious about your process and as a producer. Because for those of you who are watching, I approached Scrawny to do this sort of reimagining of One Foot in the Grave because I've loved his work so much on Madeline May's stuff. That's how I discovered his production work, and it'd be cool if you, I don't know, tell a little bit about your process. I'm curious, so curious about it.
Well, sure. When you reached out about it, I obviously went and listened to the original, and the first thing that I heard was, I think I told you on the phone, I was like, just I needed to have this choir or something. I was like, if I was to reimagine this, I want because your vocals are so great. You've got such a distinct voice. I was like, we need to accent that. It needs to just be there with like, if I could hire hundreds of people to sing behind that and say one foot. So that's where the concept came from in my process with this was to just do that. So I was on tour at the time, so I was recording these vocals in like Airbnbs and stuff like that with just no good microphones or any like good setup, but just to get the ideas out there. And then I was able to finish the rest of it in the studio when I got back. But that's usually that's where everything starts for me is I have to have a concept. Like I don't like going into a reimagining or a production or anything with just like, okay, let me just play the guitar and figure out the chords, or let me play the piano and figure out the chords and like find the voicings and stuff like that. It's like I have to have a strong concept, especially with something like this when I'm trying to reimagine something that already exists. Because it's like it's your baby. It's something that you put your time into,
Right.
and you said, "This is the final version. This is what I want." And then you're asking me to come in and say, "Actually, actually, this is what I hear." So it's like you definitely had to trust me a lot, which I appreciate. I'm glad that you did because I had a blast doing this. But yeah, I want to make sure that the concept of what's being sung, because you've heard remixes of songs and things, and you're like, that doesn't even make sense with what the song's about. Like it just like feels like you threw like dance drums on it or something like that. So I didn't want to approach it that way at all. But yeah, it just kind of unfolded as I kept going each section. I was like, well, what if I did this? And what if I did this? And then I sent it to you, and you're like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, do
and
all of that.
and that's what I thought was amazing. Was that I've never done anything like this before, and like you said, these are my babies. I'm
Yeah,
obviously put a lot of thought into how I arrange things and produce things, and so this was felt like a vulnerability for me. Really, it was like
yeah,
a risk,
yeah,
because it could have come back. And I mean, I felt that your production instincts and your writing instincts were so sharp and sort of like whimsical and smart that it would just like you'd get it, but you don't
yeah,
know for sure, especially because
yeah.
we had never met. We'd never really had a
Yep,
creative conversation.
yep,
So when I got back your first, sort of draft at it, and it was so close to exactly right. I think there was like a one
yeah,
note
yeah,
before you went
yep,
into like full production, and it was like a tiny little thing.
yeah,
Um, and I really was just so overjoyed about that, because it
yeah,
was risky. Like I was nervous about it because I've never done
yeah.
anything like that before. So I just really appreciated also how uh, awesome you have been to work with,
Oh,
and
I
you're a
appreciate that.
fellow
Thanks.
Jersey kid, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We figured that out like after everything was scheduled and like ready to release. We're like, where do you live?
Yeah,
we didn't
yeah.
we didn't even know that. So that's funny.
um, yeah. So just really appreciate your time that you put into it. I know
Yeah,
it seems like I know my Patreon folks and Discord folks really have loved it,
yeah,
and I think it's, too, for the close fans, like the everyday fans that are in that Discord room every day, the music to them also is very like precious, right? So
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
reimagining to them also could be an absolute head scratcher.
yeah,
But they just love it so much, and that
yeah,
means, that the collaboration is right, and you approached it
yeah,
with such grace and, like, thoughtfulness around, even grabbing onto one of my favorite parts of the arrangement is the xylophone.
yeah,
There's this sort of
yeah,
like
yeah.
this,
Yep.
like, you grab that for a second and really kind of focused on it,
Mhm.
and I thought that was just so, so cool, and, yeah, I just loved it so much, so I wanted, folks to be able to talk to you for a second. That's the premiere, and
Yeah, and
and,
you're right. I mean, I was not only just thinking about making sure that I was doing justice for your sake because it's like as the songwriter, but you know how it is when you have a fan base of people that have been listening to a song one way. Even when you play it live and you do something a little different, people are like, oh, they like. I'm sure you've experienced this. If you do something like a little bit different in the live version of something, they're like, I wanted to sing along this way.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
you're right.
sometimes the fan base itself is like they hold on to this version that's so precious. So I was thinking about that at the same time. Like I don't want this to be a complete misdirection in a different way where it's like it's not in their rotation. Like they don't even want it to be. It's like that's not a Schaefer James song. That's just some other
Right.
thing, you know?
Right. And this feels like even when I was sort of doing I have my playlist on my Spotify of like all of my songs, and
Yeah.
when I put it right next to the original, I sort of put it
Yeah.
in that lineup. I was like, this feels really good and right and different enough that it feels special, but like not out of my universe. And I think that like
Yeah.
creatively. And so, from as a producer, that's a skill to have, and like I really respect it that you're able to
Yeah.
do that. So let's see if there's like a few people in the room. Let's see if they have any questions. We may if we missed any.
Okay.
Uh, let's see here. I believe will there be another video? There won't be a new music video. It'll just be the lyric video. Uh, Music videos, Scrawny. I know you're doing some right now. They
Yeah.
are such. If you want them to do it at high quality for the budget that us independent artists
Yeah.
have to do it, um, it takes so much time. So
Yeah.
you really want to make sure that you're doing it for songs that you have like a clear concept for.
Yep.
And I know you get that really well. In fact, I was psyched to see some of the screenshots you posted. I'm really excited to see.
Yeah.
I want to pick your brain about that too, because it looks like
Yeah.
you're doing some really, really cool stuff. Both renditions are awesome. Reimagined version is lovely. It feels like a more epic version. A lot of people have been saying like it sounds like it should be in a film, which is really cool.
Yeah. That would be cool.
There's like a very cinematic version of the
Yeah.
song.
Yep.
Let's see. Well, when will you collab with Will Wood again? Who knows? Who knows?
Good question.
We'll see about that. Let's see. You both having a good day. I'm having a good day.
I'm
Are you
having a
having
good
a good
day.
day?
I'm
Yeah.
having a great day.
And for you, y'all, if you don't know, I'm in California right now in the desert, writing the next album. So I played a show last night at a place called Pappy and Harriet's in the desert here, which was a really, really cool spot. If you're ever out in the desert, you should check out live music there. Apparently, like Paul McCartney showed up 2 weeks ago, sort of randomly, and played for two
Really?
hours. And
Oh my gosh. Wow.
in the desert, and then they'll just drop in on a random Tuesday or Wednesday and just
Wow.
play a show. And
That's crazy.
they'll just announce it, the day of, and the place will just pack up. So really, really cool.
Wow. That's cool.
Let's see, how's the next album coming along? It's coming along really, really well. I'm having a lot of fun. Completely different process than what I'm used to, but I'm sort of just, you know, you may understand this. Every project, every song, usually have like a set process, but then sometimes it changes.
Yeah.
And for me, this time I've been fully arranging all of the instrumentals before writing a word, which I've never done.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
I'm the songs around these sort of I'm the ideas for the songs are actually being inspired by the arrangements. So it's more like reverse scoring film or something. It's been a totally different process for me, and I'm really excited because I think
That's
that will
cool.
inform the output as well. It'll
Yeah.
change things.
That's interesting because that's typically how I write my own music too. Is I will have something created, and like usually I'll start with like a loop of something, and I'll
Mhm.
just sing over that for a while. And then once I feel like okay, there's melodies that can come out of this, I'll finish out the entire roadmap of the song
Yeah,
instrumentally to a point, and then I will go in and think about lyrics and content. I was like, what is the song even about? Like now
yeah,
now that I have a song done, what do I put in it? That's usually the hardest part. I was always
yeah,
like growing up when I would write songs, I'd be at the piano or I'd be at a guitar. And not that it's not like natural to do it. It's just I started realizing over time like it's really tough to just sit there and have melody, lyrics, chord structure and everything just fall into place. And when you need to be doing it like on a daily basis, it's like if you try to do it that same exact way every single time, it doesn't for me at least. It doesn't
yeah,
always just fall into place magically. That very rarely happens, and when it does, it feels great. But that part of the like I needed to find a way that I can make music consistently without just being stuck in this like space where I'm sitting at the keyboard and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Because it's like your brain's trying to do all those things at the same time, like find new chords that are new that you've never played before, or like find a new structure that you've never done, or find a new melody that you've never done. And then it's
Yeah.
like all of those things are happening at the same time, and then it ends up just you get frustrated. At least for
Yeah.
me, that's been my
Absolutely.
experience. So
Yeah.
that's yeah,
You get roadblocked. For me, like normally I start with words. Like I've always kind of started with words, and it'll be very random when they come to me, and I just sort of
yeah,
like will repeat them, the words in my head, over the sometimes over the course of weeks until I either sit down at a keyboard. So it's just this is a really pretty different.
yeah.
So I'm very excited about it. But yeah, I absolutely get that sort of like I don't think I've not much has ever come from me sitting down and be like, okay, time to write a song.
Yeah,
It's
right. Yeah, yep,
it's either play, which is what I'm doing here, just playing and experimenting with sounds and sort of building this soundscape while I'm in the desert,
yeah,
or it's just sort of this weird tapped in to the sky thing that happens, that sounds very pretentious but is very real for me.
yeah, yep,
um, and comes in the form of poems or lyrical concepts. It's sort of like a magnetic poetry or something like that. let's
yeah,
see uh, let's see what else we got. How do you get inspired to write a new song? I think we kind of just answered that, but
yeah.
when it comes to inspiration, it's really just life. I don't know. It's weird. Scrawny, you said you hadn't heard the song. Shayfer asked, but you did. Y'all know we didn't know each other before.
Mm.
Uh,
I knew of
just
you. I've
yeah,
heard your stuff.
yeah.
I think the first time that I ever saw you show up on my feed was because of Sparkbird.
Hmm.
So that was like the first because we were following each other, and then I was like, oh, who's this? And that was Fish in a Birdcage, and then you, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So that's the
Yeah,
first time that I heard of you, but we never connected or contacted each other. It was just this was like the first thing. So
yeah.
yeah.
It's a good start, I'd say.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Let's see. What's another question? What's my favorite song like ever? That's an impossible question to answer. Uh, let's see what else. Question: when are you planning on announcing tour dates? I will be announcing tour dates at the end of January, and the tour will be in spring. So we're still working out some details on that. But I can say right now, I'm very excited because we're going to be playing all of Counterfeit Arcade and all of Summoning in full. Uh, I never play a lot of songs from Counterfeit Arcade. I only play usually four from it. And folks love that album, and it's 15 years that album's been out. So
Wow,
going to celebrate it by playing every song live on the next
that's
tour.
cool.
So um, what places do I plan? It's something like 28 cities. So it's all over. There's only a couple regions we're missing. This one in the US, but I'll certainly come back to those at another time. It just didn't fit logistically, as sometimes happens. Have you ever considered writing something? Um, Signature 5/4. Go and listen to The Moral and listen to Digging Up Hatchets, Nathan Wilbrink. Um, I play with time signature a lot in both of those songs. Uh, it's subtle, but it's there. How about you, Scrawny? You ever write in different in odd time signature, or is it?
Um, I had this song for the longest time, and I never finished it. It was in 7/8, and it would go from 7/8 to 6/8, and it would just go back and forth.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you get this, but like when you're singing, I'm sure you do. When you're singing something and it like falls into a certain meter automatically, like okay, well this is 4/4, this is 3/4, this is 6/8, whatever it is, but there's a time where it's like there needs to be a breath sometimes, and it's like the only way to do that, and sometimes I'm like so locked in with my metronome or like click or something that I can't think outside of it. So the times where I get the weird time signatures is when I'm just playing something. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, it feels right to have a breath there, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, now I got to figure out what does that mean. Oh, that means it's in 7/8 for the verse, and then the pre-chorus is 6/8. It's like it's going back and forth. So I never finished that song. I have a couple songs that are in 6/8. That's the weirdest I've released. That's really not
Hmm.
weird. It's pretty common. um, but yeah, I've never used 3/4 because I always end up in this waltz mentality when I'm in
Hmm.
3/4. So
It's
it's
tricky
yeah,
doing 3/4 without it feeling like super waltz, like super
yeah,
almost like silly. It's
yeah.
tricky. Yeah.
Dun,
In
dun,
fact,
dun, dun.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You either have to lean into the silliness of it,
yeah,
or you have to find a way to make it feel as if it's not happening. And I think that's
yeah,
really it's a challenge. And sometimes
yep,
it's fun to lean into it. Something I'm working on out here
yeah,
absolutely leans into it. Um, but by changing the time signature and kind of switching from major to minor in the set in like in the middle of the progression. So you're sort of
Yeah.
creating a little bit of dissonance there that gets you out of that circus, and into
Yeah. Yep.
a circus you're building of your own. Let's
Right.
do
Yeah.
a couple more questions. Coming back to Boise, it looks like uh, I think we're waiting to confirm that, but it's on the radar. Will I ever play it in Germany? I just played in Berlin um, in
Nice.
in September, but I'll definitely be back probably when the next album comes out. So probably about a year from now, or a little more. Favorite musician?
Oh my god.
Um, yeah, those are hard questions.
Impossible question.
Um, my favorite singer of all time is Nat King Cole, who is long
Oh.
dead.
Oh my
Right?
gosh. There's a what song? Oh my gosh. I just listened to it for the first time this year and did not know it existed. He does a version of something and I was like, I literally was weeping. I was like,
He,
what is this control and tone? Like it's
uh,
so good.
it's like cigarettes, but also
Yes.
joyful.
Yes.
It is just
Yeah.
exquisite, and he is just an exquisite
Yeah.
singer and artist. Question
Yeah.
for both of you: what's an instrument that you would love to use more in your music?
Hmm.
Hmm, interesting.
Um, I have been really, for some strange reason, in most of my tracks recently, I've been like really in the woodwind family
Hmm.
and been really digging like this bass clarinet sound.
Hmm.
Um, so I would probably just continue to incorporate that more. I barely use flute, and I feel like that's a really tricky instrument to incorporate into like the pop world. Um, there was a time where I was like always using violin and stuff, and I feel like that's kind of had my its time for me. So like that's I use that very rarely, but I would love to incorporate flute in a way that's like it's the main thing of the song. I just haven't
Hmm.
done it yet, and I don't know what that melody is going to be or how it's going to fit in, but that would be fun.
That's yeah, another thing that's tricky, right? Almost like the 3/4 time. It's like working an
Yeah.
instrument like the flute that's so identifiably something to most people
Yes.
in a way that feels like part of your world musically
Yep.
and makes sense with your music. Um, I think for me, I'd really like. I mean, it's not a. I mean, it is an instrument. I'd really like to use more synthetics. I'd really like to use more
Mm.
electronic instruments. I dabbled with them on Shipwreck, but not in the way that I dabbled with them in the album Shipwreck. More as textures and layers. Moog stuff would be cool. Some just like older vintage synths would be neat to, instead of say traditional brass or strings, to use like a string machine or things like that to create a slightly different texture than I've used before. So I've been experimenting with that before out here in California. We'll see. I may just default to using brass like I
Yeah.
have in the past, but it's been interesting to at least try to see how those textures work. Let's see. Always wondered how artists feel about playing their older popular songs. I personally love playing like Villainous Thing and For the Departed. Love playing them for a couple of reasons. One is that y'all love them. So it's exciting for me to play shows and see fans react to songs that they love. That will never get old for me. Because I'm a performer. I'm performing for you. Um, and I think what's cool is that I am able to take songs that I wrote about a thing a very long time ago and make them about something new for me. So I can redefine as a performer and a writer, redefine what songs mean to me so that I never lose interest in them. I'm never like, oh, I wrote that about this person 15 years ago. No, now it's just about another person, or it's about me, about my relationship with myself. So I never get tired of playing songs because they never get old for me. Um, and so that's my take on it. Scrawny, I know you haven't done like a whole lot of touring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, is there a song though that you have that you're sort of like sometimes you're just sort of sick of and you don't want to play, or you just don't, you're kind of over, like you wish it didn't represent you in some way online, or
I mean, the thing is, when I first started making music, I wrote songs like this high, like in the key as high
uh
as possible because I'm in the studio and I'm like, I'm pushing it. Let me push it. Let me be smart about this and put out this version. and then all of those songs are my most popular songs. So
Right.
then I'm locked into like, and these, do I do it in a lower key for live? Do I push through it and have a whole set where everything's really high the whole time? And
Yeah.
it's like I kind of put one foot in the grave for myself by doing that. And it's like that, I think that would be the thing, is like that, those songs that are older that I know I'm gonna have to power through in a set. It's, I love playing them, I love singing them, but I know that I've kind of set myself up for for failure doing it night
Uh,
after night. But like honestly, a half step saves my life sometimes, and nobody notices when it's a half step lower. So that's usually
yeah.
my default, just to still have the energy. Because if you go any lower, then it just, you kind of lose. Like my one song, "Be Okay," is really high, and it starts vocals only, and it's like I just kind of, there's no other way to really start it. So it's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just getting creative with when you play older songs live, doing them in a new way that's exciting, or making sure that it's true to the way that people want to hear it, and being able to do it consistently night after night, so that when people are listening to it, they're excited to hear it. So
Yeah.
that's tricky.
Yeah, I have this song "Troublemaker" that was on my Shipwreck album, and it's like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was same thing. I was in the studio.
Yeah,
I've been like, sometimes when I was drinking, I would like sometimes in the studio, I'd make some questionable choices in terms of what I was capable of doing every day. And
yeah,
"Troublemaker" is sort of at the top of my range, but also operates from like up into like a sort of like half rock scream,
yeah. Oh gosh, yeah,
but like right on the edge of my break. And so like it was easy to do it in the studio and it would be fine to do, say, 2 or 3 nights in a row.
yeah.
But if you're going into a 30-day tour,
Hmm.
and what's crazy about it is it's so high that I did try to bring it down to half step.
Yeah,
Um,
yep,
and that was still too high for me to feel comfortable. So I brought it down another, and a full step is okay,
yeah,
risky. But
yeah.
every time I think about people ask me to play that song live, oh, I was disappointed you didn't play Troublemaker. I was like, me too, but I am the asshole. I'm the asshole who wrote it in this like impossible
Yeah,
key,
yep,
to play it. So I absolutely feel that.
yeah, yep.
If you had to pick two animals to represent your music, um, let's see. For me, it would definitely be an owl,
Mm.
and um, I think it used to be an owl and the elephant, which is the name of one of my albums, but I'm gonna say an owl. And presently, like, well, I'm caught up between an owl and a wolf or an owl and a badger. I think badgers are pretty interesting
Mm.
animals. So,
That's good.
um, how about you?
Well, I've actually named my studio after two animals, so
There you
uh,
go.
it kind of has always been a part of what I do. So it's the pelican and a swan. And
Love that.
I guess because I see the swan as like this elegant creature that can also be a little vicious and have like a little bit of like anger to it. So it's like on the outside it's elegant, but it's also got this grit to it. And then the pelican's just goofy looking. The pelican has like the fun side. It's kind of got this big old beak, and it's always just kind of like around. And you're like, that's a weird looking thing. And that's kind of what I want people to see when they hear my music, is like, think about this, like it's well packaged and put together and it's interesting, but it's also a little off.
Yeah,
So that's my two
that's,
animals.
I love that. Also, pelicans are so weird. They're like the way their bodies work. It's
I know.
it's so like they're
Yeah,
aliens.
yeah, they're
Uh,
weird.
let's see. Question for both of you: what is your favorite part making songs? For me, it's that moment when it clicks, and that could be like a simple moment where it's like suddenly the rhythm of the melody and the lyrics come together in a way that okay, I know what this song is, and I can write it. Once that click happens, the song just is done. Basically, it'll just take me, an hour. But getting to that place where it clicks and makes my whole body feel good, that's that moment. That's my favorite moment of songwriting, is when I feel as if I've got it, like it's an aha
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Um, and how about you? What's your favorite part of the process?
Honestly, yeah, I have to agree with that. I feel like that is a really good part of the process. But to give a different answer, just because I don't want to say the same thing, I really like it when somebody comes to me after the song is done, has listened to it, and they have their own interpretation of the
Mm,
song that's completely different than anything that I was thinking. And that moment of connectivity with somebody where it's like, this is what this means to me. I'm like, I had no clue that that's what that could get to. And it's
yeah,
like, that's a really cool part of the song creating process, is like you have a finished work, Like if someone was to come and ask me what it's about, I could explain it. But then somebody just coming up to me and saying, "This is what I think it's about," is super cool. Like
Yeah.
it's like, wow, this is connecting on different levels I wasn't expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, and isn't that like really the greatest part of being an artist? I think
Yeah.
for me is especially with all the touring I've done over the last few years is seeing what the art means to other people. First of all, there's that layer of like, I can't believe you care enough to have
Yeah.
analyzed these lyrics and made them a
Yeah.
part of your life. Like that's a gift. And then to know that it's become part of someone else's story in a completely different way than
Yeah.
it's part of yours. Um, and going back to like reinventing, like I feel like if you write a song from your heart, you can reinvent what it means for you.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense that other people receive it in a completely different way,
Yeah.
so but I love that. I think that is really a great part of the process is sort of like being finished and understanding that you've created something sort of universal that people can kind of like make their own.
Yeah.
Let's do another couple questions if there are any. The beauty of art, yes, the beauty of art, correct.
I have a question for
um
you.
yeah.
Have you ever made a song with the intention of never releasing it? Like you made something that you knew was only going to be for you in the process. Not like wrote something and you're like, oh, this is not going to go out anywhere. Like, because
Yeah.
both done that where you write it and you're like, that's not good enough. I'm
Yeah.
talking about you write something and it's just for you.
um I mean, everything. And I think that like, part of my so for a long time nobody knew my music. I've been writing
Yeah.
music for a long time. I didn't, I Counterfeit Arcade came out in 2011 and folks found it in 2019, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I had become very accustomed to making music for myself. I was playing a few shows a year. I make music, it's my shadow work, it's my therapy, it's my heart. So when I first started making music, this music with Red Room Volume 1, which is my first EP, I expected no one would listen to it. I just put it out into the ether and I kept making and opportunities would come up for me to make and record more music in ways that were affordable and I was able to sort of just do it and not worry about having to get a third job or
Yeah.
and then but and in fact, a wonderful friend of mine who, Sarah Czar, who may even be on the stream, but she does all the artwork. Went to California, I was experiencing that blockage that you're talking about, where you're sort of
Yeah.
like, "What am I doing? I'm terrible at this. Why do people even
Yeah.
care about what I do?"
Yeah.
And um, and so I was talking with her, and she said, "Remember to make it as if no one's listening to it."
Mm,
Because she knew that had always been how I operate,
yeah.
and knew me well enough. I've known her for a very, very long time and knew me well enough to give that advice because I had forgotten. Oh, there she is, Sarah.
Yep.
Because I had forgotten that,
Yeah.
because I came out here to write an album and I'm gonna put out because I'm on tour so much and
Yeah.
it's like when music becomes a full-time career, it changes your perspective a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
mostly, I guess the short answer to that is that I had always done that and started to not do that. And I was lucky enough to have a friend say, "Don't forget to do that." And it changed. It kind of like I was able to sit back and start creating out here and having fun.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Huge thanks to Shayfer for touring countries like Poland. Fan from Lithuania doesn't really get to see. Yeah, I want to do more in Poland. I had a lot of fun. Warsaw was such a blast. Oh my god, my favorite show of that European tour. Warsaw, Poland, and Utrecht, Netherlands were just awesome.
That's
Um,
cool.
let's see, couldn't make it. So I think we've been on for half hour, so I think we should jump off.
Yeah.
But this was awesome. Glad
Yeah.
folks had so many questions, and thank you again for doing this. It's like was a risk for me, and it ended up being like
Yeah.
really enjoyable and really valuable for me as an artist. And I just got
Good.
to meet you and connect with you, which is
Yeah.
super cool. So
Yeah.
um, let's see. So that's it, everybody. I think this will just be on like on our pages. So for anybody who
Yep.
missed it, to rewatch it. But really, really appreciate you all joining. And we'll see you real soon. Uh, Show last night was awesome last night. surprisingly way cooler and better turnout than I expected out here in the desert. So it was really fun. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the other side.
So
Goodbye.
yeah.